And today I'm in Beverly Hills going undercover
Sabri Suby from Shark Tank, no less,
to expose how these luxury car brands brainwash you to buy using dark psychological principles.
going to various luxury dealers in Beverly Hills to expose the dark psychology behind their sales strategy.
This is the brand new Rolls-Royce Spectre and costs over $530,000.
When Sabri walks into these dealerships, they do not recognize him.
So
Though he is a famous multi-millionaire.
I'm Sabri Suby. I'm an investor on Shark Tank. I've generated $7.8 billion for my clients.
And comes from very humble beginnings in New Zealand, where he was the son of a single mom who struggled for survival. Early on, he did odd jobs to support his mother, and then found out he has a knack for sales. How power structures, organizations, luxury empires, or even churches like Daystar, how they deal with them psychologically.
First up is Rolls-Royce.
And that's what we're going to dissect today.
I'm heading inside to see what dark tactics that they use to get me to buy.
So let's watch Sabri Suby walk into these high-end Beverly Hills luxury car dealerships, and they don't know what's coming. They don't know what's hit them.
Hey, we're here to see the Spectre.
They go about him with the typical sales strategy, not knowing who they're dealing with.
And here is our first suspect.
Sabri, of course, plays with them while they think they play with him.
This guy's already on to me.
And so he says, what color is that?
What's this color called?
Which is normally perhaps a mustard color, if not a vomit color. Let's not go there. And they, of course, say, oh, it's chartreuse, automatically giving themselves a one-upmanship. It's a French word, of course, and it's a color that you may have heard of but really don't know for sure. That automatically puts them in the higher position so that the person who comes in feels devalued because maybe they don't know what that color is or have not heard that word, and it's French, and it seems they're out of the league, that the salesman is the one in the higher position.
The starlit doors, the grills illuminated, and you guys are starting up here.
Those three features alone cost well over $30,000.
Before we don't even get to a test drive,
I didn't know that I was a serious buyer and was looking for a new car for wifey.
Sabri is forced, as he says, to admire, to go through, to watch all the special fabrics, the special craftsmanship that is displayed in the dealer's private office.
Before I could take this thing for a test drive, I was forced to check out their bespoke design center.
It's a tactic that Sabri doesn't even mention, but that's very much at play here.
Bespoke design center.
Engagement tactic. Psychologically, the more time someone invests, the more they engage, the more likely they are to keep on further with the product. They've already gotten down the road. They already said implicitly yes.
Forced to check out their bespoke design center.
By admiring the fabric, and the salesman said, oh, we even have one that has glass inside the fabric to give it this special glow. And again, positioning themselves outside the field of everyone else, above what has been seen before.
Switch to our secret recording glasses, which we'll use to capture all of the unseen tactics that these brands use to 10x their profits.
To force the customer to look at the different luxury fabrics and materials. It's not just information, even though that's how they pretend it. It is psychologically to make someone implicitly say yes, to implicitly admire the outsized value and quality of the product. Plus, what's also important, it shows them they have a choice. See, customers like to have a choice. By displaying the different fabrics and materials, all high-end luxury materials, you can choose. You have a choice. You're not just being sold to. There's like a little drop of power given back to you by saying, oh, you can choose the most expensive that has glass in it. And why wouldn't you? Your ego probably would demand, I want the best.
These are all the materials you had to pick from. People do the red, huh? And this is where the real money is made. It's not only the extras, it's the colors that change the price.
Colors you can get, there's a color that has actually glass in it, so it's more.
Glass?
It's just more intense.
Some of these interior options can cost upwards of $20,000. That alone is the price of a used Tesla.
Treatment, time, cutting, sanding.
When they go to the test drive, watch what happens.
Let's take this puppy for a test drive.
It feels like being in a cloud. The electric is ridiculous.
This is the ultimate goal.
Now here's where he'll pull out all the stops and do the real selling.
How long was this in the plans?
100 years they wanted to do this.
This has been 100 years in the making.
100 years they wanted to do this.
Background tradition as an upscale and once only affordable for high-end aristocracy in England.
He was a seasoned pro.
It's now the bloom, the latest of 100 years. So what you're buying, the salesman seems to imply, is not just this product. It's 100 years of luxury experience, 100 years of previous aristocrats, even the British kings and queens who drove around in Rolls-Royces, of course, who could not have dreamed of this newest version of the Rolls-Royce. So what you're buying is the history, is the tradition, is the class, and it's being higher up than previous kings and queens, because you are getting a Rolls-Royce they couldn't even have driven and that they would have liked to drive. Of course, it's the implicit message here.
100 years?
They wanted to be electrical originally because you can't hear anything in their engine.
He told me that this model I was driving costs a whopping $545,000.
120 grand of extra.
The primary strategy the Rolls-Royce car dealer is playing here is the exorbitantly high price. And they drop it into Sabri's lap right off the bat. Almost 400K, $500,000 for a car. And that's also an intimidation tactic. Like, if you don't qualify, you can just walk off right now.
You have a package, a Spectre package, which is $20,000. Bonnet up there is another 10 grand. Stereo is 10. Starlit doors 13. Everything Rolls does is extra.
With the cost of the upgrades alone, you could buy a brand new Mercedes S-Class.
And from then on, they start building and justifying the price with this craftsmanship, this special element that you can add, this add-on to the car to justify the exorbitantly high price.
Time he was talking about, this is how much it costs, and he wasn't shying away from the price. He came out and told me straight away, this is how much all the extras cost, and that this thing is going to be $530,000.
But see, where others often withhold the price until the very end, trying to lure the customer in, Rolls-Royce is reversing it. They drop the jaw-dropping price into your lap, chew on that.
$530,000.
And now let's build up to that so that you are eager to pay that price, because we are going to show you that that is worth it.
Rolls-Royce are absolute masters at the red velvet rope pricing strategy. The velvet rope pricing illusion is where brands double down on the price. They don't shy away from it, and then they build value to that price. And you think,
shit, this is so expensive.
it must be the good.
Throughout, the salesman drops with a Rolls-Royce. Once you drive a Rolls-Royce, you are done. It seems like you're done, you're top of the world, top of the mountain.
You're done. Where are you going from here?
And that appeals again to a more traditional buyer, perhaps the ruler. They are done. They have reached the peak, but it may not appeal to everyone. Some people are not done. They're just getting started. So it's a phrase that can work for some customers, but not all.
And just kept on repeating, once you drive in a Rolls-Royce, you are done.
The problem is when you get in this, you're done. You're done.
This
But Rolls-Royce's sales model is, of course, you are done, there's nothing above us. We are the best. And if you buy this close to a $500,000 car, you are done. You don't need anything else. And that is very enticing indeed for many people who feel, why invest in such a high car that may just lose value the moment you drive it off the lot. But what doesn't lose value is that feeling when you sit behind the steering wheel. I'm done. I did it. I am at the top. And that is priceless. And that is worth the 500,000 and more for those who drive this car off the lot. Here's a little curveball.
The family's arriving next week. I wouldn't drive this to Yosemite, but yeah, we're gonna go out there.
No, you would.
Really?
Why not?
When Sabri says, well, family is coming to town and we're taking a trip to the desert and I wouldn't be able to take this car, the salesman says, why not? See, that simple phrase, why not, is a challenge. Why not, indeed, if you are rich and can afford everything? Why not, indeed, if you are rich enough and can afford something that seems outside the box, outside tradition, as much as the salesman has just hailed the tradition of Rolls-Royce 100 years in the making. Now he subtly gives Sabri, the customer, a little bit more power. Why not? You can do what you want. You're the king. And if you want to take it on a dirt road with your family, go ahead. You can do it.
Really? But then he went on to tell me about all of the craftsmanship that go actually into this. He used the price to actually build the value and make me want it in the first place. And
one more thing of interest. As you may know, I have lived in Los Angeles for many, many years, originally from Germany, and now live in Miami. But in Los Angeles, there was a movement, you may have heard of it, the pick-up artists. Men who wanted to pick up young, pretty women in the clubs, in the bars, but were rebuffed because after all, it's Los Angeles. And unless you're an executive or an agent or manager who can offer a pretty young actress something, you have no chance. But the pick-up artists started using dark psychology, reverse psychology, and many still use that. And that was, he was really a nobody. But when he moved into the clubs, he had a special outfit. He had like a top hat, like Lincoln. He was already tall, with actually a furry top hat. He was towering. And he used a tactic to get all the girls, and he wrote about it. It was a whole movement of coaches teaching men how to pick up girls using that same technique. And one of them is to diss the girl. No matter how beautiful she was, would give her a little bit of attention and then diss her like she wasn't anything. And they were only used to being wooed by men. But in dark psychology, it worked. All of a sudden, that girl tried to get his attention, even though he was a nobody. He was playing the one-upmanship. I'm better than you, and you have to grovel. You have to come to heel. You have to woo me, the guy, even though you are gorgeous and you would normally have all guys at your fingertips.
It goes against everything that most salespeople do when selling. They'll do everything to not tell you the price until they've made their pitch. Where Rolls-Royce does the opposite. They actually drop the price up front and then build value to that price.
Upgraded sound, that has the adaptive cruise control, heads-up display.
Well, that psychological game has certainly bloomed and blossomed outside the dating and pickup artist arena, and is very much at play, whether it's a luxury car or sometimes a church, such as Daystar, who use their position of power. It's a very dark strategy because sometimes it is not a game, but a mean psychological put down and a using of people who disrespect and put down anyone of their minions who dare to question them, their claim to authority when they feel perhaps let down, and perhaps dark psychological games having been played with them or with us. Whether we are the customer of a luxury car, if we buy something online, or hard-earned money to so-called prophets, churches, or broadcasting empires who claim a position of authority that cannot be questioned. Well, here we question authority, and I hope to see you on our next video where we look at some of those dark psychological strategies. In the meantime, look in the description box. You can find out your dominant prosperity personality or brand personality. Are you a ruler? Are you a maverick or something else? There are free resources as well as meditations and other resources to help you on that journey. See you soon. Bye.
This was nothing compared to what's coming next at McLaren.